You know, for those of us who are intelligent, or at least, you know, above average intelligence, I don't even think intelligence has anything to do with this, but maybe it does, you know. But for those of us who are able to use our brains accurately to the point where we can think without any bias, without any interference into our minds, you will see the truth in everything you do in life. You will see everything for what it is. And believe it or not, that's a curse. You know, that's a curse, because how can you go through life constantly seeing the advantages and the disadvantages of everything that you're doing? Because that's how my mind works, you know. Even though it's not it's not how I like to live, but that's just how it is for me. Whenever I'm engaged in something, I think about the advantages and I think about the disadvantages. And if the disadvantages outweigh the advantages, I pull out. You know, but for most people, sorry about that, but for most people, that doesn't occur in their minds. That, well, if I'm engaged into this thing, you know, at the end of the day, is it worth it? You know, so obviously, having this level of awareness, you know, it transfers to everything in your life. You know, even life itself, you see it for what it is. You outweigh the advantages and the disadvantages of life, and you ask yourself, with all that's happening in the world, can I really say that life is truly worth it? You know, like, look at what's happening, you know. Unless you were born into a super wealthy family where you don't even have to work, and you're in the fourth generation of that family, because there are families like that where, okay, yeah, even though they have to manage the family's assets and all of that stuff, but you know, they don't really have to work. Unless you're born into a family like that, for most of us it's not like that, you know. Once you get here, you are forced to do things for money. You are forced to go to school. You are forced to to go to work. You know, you are forced to do that. You know, it's a requirement. If you can't do any of those two that I mentioned, you can't survive. You know, you can't survive. It's very rare for you to survive. You know, if you can't speak proper English, it's a disadvantage in the world that we live in nowadays, you know. It's a disadvantage because, you know, the British colonized almost every country. You know, so like 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 we're trapped. Like, once you come here, you look at the advantages, the disadvantages, you're like, no, no. All the stress, all the depression, all the anxiety people get onto their day-to-day lives, all the people pleasing that you have to do to get promotions, all of the social games that you have to play to make sure you're good with people. You know, you have to constantly watch out that you're not offending people, stuff like that. You know, you're just always on edge all the time. You know, so then you have to go and make sure that, you know, when you die, you leave something. I don't know for whoever, you know. But like, it's a lot of stress. We just come here to die, and we spend all this time on nonsense. You know, imagine just coming to earth, and with your limited time, this is what we have to do. People please, you know, suck ass all our lives. This is what we have to do in order to survive. You come here, you suck ass, and you die. It's weird to point it like that, but like, really, like, that's all we're here to do. You want to tell me that other than surviving, other than basic surviving, this is all that we're here to do. And I know the religious people will get on here and say, that's where now Jesus comes in. That's where now, and they start talking about all these spiritual stuff. Listen, man, and I keep talking about these spiritual nonsense stuff. That shit doesn't stop anything, anything that happens in a material sense. For example, if it's your time to die, it's your time to die. Not even Jesus is gonna step up and save you. No. If it's your time to get shot, boom, and then you die, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Even if something happens and by some miracle you get saved from that situation, but that is just delayed death. Your time is still coming. So it's all pointless, because the truth will always be that you're just here to survive and die. So when you're intelligent, these facts, they present themselves quickly, because now the brainwashing is like, no man, like, this is life, and this is what these people told me life is. But then you look at the advantages, you look at the disadvantages, like, no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that I'm here and this is what I have to do. It doesn't make sense that I have to work a crappy job just so I can survive. And the sad part about all of that is that we are not equal. Some people don't even have to work crappy jobs. But what I've noticed is that in the life that we live in, we can't have it all. We cannot really have it all. You might see somebody that has it all, but then they have a crippling addiction, for gambling, stuff like that. You have it all, but then you're addicted to gambling, you're addicted to drugs and all of that, or you have it all, but nobody really likes you, nobody wants to be around you, you turn everybody off. There's always some level of suffering you're going to get, even though people might think that, oh, you have it all, but there's always some suffering that you're going to experience. That will always happen. But really, like, when you're intelligent, man, when you are self-awareness, it's good, because it helps you make the right decisions while obviously you're still alive. But then the dark side of it is that, man, like, everything eventually in your eyes just seem pointless. You understand the futile nature in everything we do. You understand that this thing that I'm doing, I'm only doing it because of this. You're not doing it because you're enjoying it, or like, intelligence and awareness just takes the sauce out of everything, and it just leaves you with the raw ingredients, and you get to see, this is the spice that's gonna make this taste like this, and this is the tomato sauce is gonna make it more delicious. But the truth just separates all of that, and it makes you see clearly, because what you see is just a nice meal in front of you, but when you observe it accurately using your brain, you're like, okay, that's spaghetti, that's cucumber, that's lettuce, those are peppers, that's chicken fillets. You're able to see that clearly, and you can able to separate in your mind, saying like, okay, when this is put together, this is what it makes. All right, now you're trying to eat, and you're able to individually taste all the fillets, all the peppers, all the cucumbers, and you're like, so without this, it wouldn't taste like this. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying. Like, that's what intelligence does. That's what awareness does. It's a good thing, but mostly it's a bad thing, because now that meal, in order for you to enjoy it, you have to be able to take your mind out of it and just go with the feeling that, let me just eat this nice meal. Wow, it looks good. And then you just dig in. But when you're always super aware, the experience won't be the same because you understand what goes on inside the meal, you know? So that's what intelligence does, you know. This is DeadMf and I'm signing out.